Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lowdown, and I couldn't resist. I had such an urge to talk about what's going on because too much is going on, including 70s type fuel lines, especially at Costco. But I'm sure you guys are experiencing this in your own towns. Like, holy crap, gas prices are out of control, right? And on top of that, what is this? I want mid grade. All I'm seeing is unleaded or premium. Mid grade's out everywhere I go. What is that about? Hey, comment down below if you're experiencing the same things where you're at. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear about what gas prices are doing in your area. And do you have mid grade? Because I can't seem to find it in my town here in Surprise. It's a challenge. It's around, but you got to be resourceful. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the switch up of the shirt. Okay, so here's the deal. I told my wife, look, I'm going to drink rum tonight, so I want something with a bit of a pirate influence. And I think I achieved that kind of pirate look. I didn't realize that the shirt kind of exposed my nipples to the world. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm okay with that. A little bit of nip is all right. Um, some bologna bits. I think it's going to actually pump up the views. In all seriousness, guys, I cannot believe that there are still Ivy League educated economists, and I say that word lightly, that are pushing this. Hey, it's not going to be inflation. It's going to be deflation. Really? Really? Every time the government goes printing mass amounts of dollars, we see inflation. History teaches us that. I don't need to reference the experts. We can reference history. I'm sincerely trying to keep this video short. So I'm not going to have a bunch of websites that I go to and scroll through. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. But you can Google it. The last couple of times that we've printed in large amounts, inflation always finds us. It doesn't matter if it's in targeted markets. Inflation always ends up finding consumer prices, and that's what's going to happen again. I guarantee it. But don't just take it from me. You guys live it, so you guys know it. You don't have to be an economist to know, oh wow, look what's happened to gas prices. Okay, well, gas is really, that doesn't really count. Well, yes, it does. What about energy prices? The price to heat your home? Well, what's going on there? Ask some Texans about that one. But even here, we've seen a rise in our energy costs. Next thing I could mention would be housing. A 10% increase just last month. 10%. You don't think that's inflation? Okay. Let's set housing to the side. Forget about that. Lumber is out of control. Have you guys looked at what lumber's doing? I mean, the price of lumber is incredible. It's clearly inflated like hell. But okay, let's not count that. You're right. You're right. That shouldn't count. Let's put it to the side. How about crude oil? What's crude oil doing? It's inflating like crazy. In fact, most commodities are. I could think of several commodities just off the top of my head. I think about, let's see, soybean, corn, sugar, hell, natural gas, aluminum, commodities in general are blowing up. So when you tell me, well, yeah, but the stock market's just on fire. Wait a minute. Last week we seen two things happen that are not indicative of a healthy stock market. Okay? The first one is tech stocks. imploded for a bit, didn't they? So is that a real clear projection about a healthy stock market when tech stocks take a huge hit? I don't think so. Commodities just blow up. The prices just start. I mean, corn by 4% overnight. Like corn has a 5% grain. They're like, what? Corn? Is that a long-term positive indicator for our market? Guys, I'm not an Ivy League educated economist, but I'll tell you the kind of economist I am. I'm a middle class economist that's really dealing with real assets, and I have to deal with the real market. And my weekly or monthly budget only goes so far, just like yours. See, that there is a distinct detachment from the people that have incredible amount of resources to the people like us that live paycheck to paycheck. And there is a huge wealth transfer coming. And these people are going to come for your wealth. And they're not going to do it with a gun. They're going to do it with their brain. And when this economy crashes and when housing market tanks, there are going to be large conglomerates of investors gobbling up really cheap homes. And the majority of Americans are going to end up renting. So when I talk about a wealth transfer, that's the type of thing I'm talking about. For the first time, because I wanted to make a quick video and I didn't want to get sidetracked, I created an outline. Like, holy crap, an outline? Really? Like, this is the first time since high school. I feel like I'm back in school a lot, but Bloomberg just announced, I'm following my outline now, so you see me looking at. Bloomberg just announced, or they did a report rather that I read, $146 billion worth of distressed commercial real estate. Now that's real, that's viable. That's nowhere on CNBC. It's nowhere on you don't see this on mainstream media. They're not focused on, hey, there's a real crisis in commercial real estate and it's collapsing in on itself. But you don't hear that every night. You don't hear about 700,000 jobs shed, new unemployment claims. You don't hear about 831 new unemployment claims. They're only focused on the BS that's going to make you sleep well at night because it's what sells. People don't want to hear the truth. But the truth is, hey, we're in for some real turbulent times. This economy is going to crash, and you better protect yourself and your family by making the right financial moves. And that's why I created this silly channel for blue-collar folks like me to protect themselves and their families for what's to come. And I'm passionate about it. I know you guys can sense that passion. And I just see the press putting out a bunch of fantasies. Like, the video I covered last week where it's like, oh, personal income growth increased by 10%. Really? But once you remove all of that government stimulus and the unemployment benefits and the welfare, personal income actually declined in January. But please, tell me more about your fantasies. Let me hear about your economic fantasies. Is that too much, babe? Sorry, I went too far there. Because people are living in a daydream. It's not realistic, guys. We got to bring it back to what reality. What's the reality of the numbers? What are we really up against? Because when the hammer does fall and the stock market does crash, you think the unemployment numbers are bad now. Wait, because there's going to be cutbacks. And it's just a shame. I'm not even sure that myself and my family are going to still have a job when the sky does fall. I feel like that guy that's on the street corner. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. But I don't think it has to be in a negative way. Because when the sky does fall, there's going to be opportunity. There's going to be opportunity for those that prepared, for the people that are ready for that. Okay, back to my outline. There were a lot of casualties throughout this health crisis, but one of the main ones is, hey, you guys know this is a fact. U.S. malls have decreased 60% in value since the start of the health crisis. They've decreased 60% in value since the beginning of the health crisis. Yeah, the economy's coming back. We're roaring back, aren't we? I can imagine it now. Huh? Build it and they will come. Nobody's coming. You could build it, it could still stand after you built it, but no one's coming to your commercial real estate. I don't care how many vaccines you shoot in people's arms. I just seen Caribbean cruise lines offering this cruise where everybody has been vaccinated. Come back to the cruise industry. Lord, I only could hope, right? Our travel industry is huge. It's been shut down for 11 months. You don't think that's going to have ramifications? It certainly is. Hotels have been one of the bigger victims of this whole health crisis. The hotels are still reporting vacancy rates at 80%. But yeah, there's going to be this big. It's coming back. I can feel it in my bones. Look, guys, I hate this because I'm already at 11 minutes. I got too much crap to say. So I'm going to wrap it up here. But I'm going to leave you with this thought as you're like caught up in this market euphoria, right? Like everything's just grand. Of course, there's going to be a Biden bump. We're about to inject 1.9 trillion additional dollars into our market. We're just going to hand out $1,400 to people. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Meanwhile, if you go to shadow stats, which are much more accurate than the government stats, we're looking at 30 plus million people unemployed still. 30 plus million. So yes, there's going to be a Biden bump. All this cheap money and pumping up our equities. Listen, they're pumping up equities around the world. It's not just here in the U.S. that they're printing like crazy. And they're doing it under the, encouragement of Janet Yellen. In one of my previous videos, I showed you guys where she's encouraging other nations to go big. Go big with your printing. It's time. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. And I'll give you an example of how out of touch it is. Let's take the British pound. The British pound just hit a 3-year high. A 3-year high. They had their worst quarter in 300 years. 300 years. Their GDP had its worst quarter that it's had in 300 years worth of history. But the British pound just hit a 3-year high. So that kind of demonstrates to all of you that how out of touch every country is under the encouragement of our country. And we're just going big, man. We're just going to print. Don't you worry. Government's going to we're going to take care of all of it. Look, guys, here's the lowdown. And I'm going to start saying the date at the beginning of the video when I'm like, hey, if you guys would do me the favor of liking and subscribing. And by the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, you've stuck with me. Even when I touch my nipples, you watch the video till the end. So bless you, child. and like and subscribe. But I am going to start saying the date at the beginning to give reference. Do something this week. We are about to experience the largest economic crash that our country, that this world has ever seen. And it's going to happen as soon as the Fed stops propping this economy up. Because that's all that's keeping this patient alive at this point, is we're just doping it up, more heroin, keep that heartbeat going, right? But as soon as the Fed shuts off the spigot, the spending spigot, and says no more, and that is coming, this economy is absolutely going to crash. There's no two ways about it. So do something this week to prepare, please, to prepare for your families. Buy a case of water, even a case of water, and set it to the side. Uh, buy some extra food. Buy some canned goods. Do something to prepare, guys. We've seen supply disruptions. I don't have to convince you that that could be around the corner. Um, until Sunday. Take care. I know I ran over my 10 minutes because I'm just terrible. I just jibber jabber, and I'm so sorry. But I do love you guys, and stay strong. We'll see you this weekend.